Hello, everyone. Warm wishes from the Pacific Northwest. It's cold and surprisingly a little bit bright today, and hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much for joining us on this webinar. We look forward to sharing with you the features and the aspirational aspects of the product from an agent perspective. Um, and we are also looking forward to hearing from you regarding your feedback on some of the polls that we have. And if you have any questions, as Darian said, please post them in the chat. We also have a Q&A at the end. Um, most of this, if you are familiar with the Microsoft Agent 365 journey, you are familiar with it. I would pace through the slides which are something that you might have seen already, but I'll try and focus on the ones that we need to spend more time on. And as we all know, Copilot is the UA for AI. Copilot is the app or the web version, or where you use Copilot in Teams or Windows, in Word or Excel or PowerPoint or Edge. It helps you interact with the Microsoft stack of AI that's built on your data and which is accessible only for you. And agents help you perform programmatic workflows that your team has created, or public companies like Microsoft or external partners have created for you, and helps you achieve specific outcome that each agents are created for. Copilot, every employee has a Copilot if you are on the Microsoft 365 stack. And every agents help you build your business tools that you require to make your workflows more automated and help you achieve more with your productive time. Spectrum of agents. When you think about agents, there are multiple kinds of agents. The agents can be categorized depending upon who created the agents for you. These agents could be created by Microsoft or other independent service vendors or other third-party public companies. There could be agents created by your own center of excellence agents team within your organization and made available to everybody in your organization. Or there could be agents that you or your own team created and shared with the rest of you in your immediate team. At the end of it, the purpose of it is to make sure that you can achieve more during your work period, and it help automate your productive time. Couple of examples that we hear range from very simple agents to very advanced agents. Simple agents fall in the category of, okay, can I have an agent that I can ask questions to my IT help desk? And how it generally would work is, there will be standard operating procedures or frequently asked questions that are being fed to the agent, and the agent is armed with information to answer most of the questions. Those are the very informational, generative, assistive, simple agents. When you go a bit further to the right of the complexity scale of agents, you would see agents like Project Tracker agent, where you can link up your agent with the project tracking tool, be it Microsoft ADU or Jira, and help understand what is the status of the projects that you are running, and if the agent is advanced enough, it can even write back to these project tracking tools from the agent itself. And then when you go further, you're talking about agents like device refresh or budget management agent, where you're granting more access to the agents on top of your system, again, depending upon the compliance and governance policies of your organization when it comes to device management. Or budget management agent, which is more financially private data. Your team's center of excellence or the admins in your organization will decide how much access the agent should and can get to the underlying data structure. Lead gen is more theoretical plus based on your CRM data, which will help you generate what are the new leads that you should go after. These are the various complex scaled agents that you can have in your organization. Customer support is one of the very high use cases that we see day in and day out across our customers, where problems from customers, from the history of the issues that have been logged, aid and support the end users to get their answers even before they get to the a human at the other end. This is a spectrum of agents, but we would like to show you next how, as an admin, as a governance person, as a data security professional, or as more of a global admin in your Microsoft tenant, you can manage your agents. And you have multiple levers on how you can give people access to create and consume agents, how you can control who have the ability to share agents at scale, and also ability on what kind of agents can be used in your organization. If you log into Microsoft 365 Admin Center, hereafter referred to as MAC, Microsoft 365 Admin Center, you will see in the left nav, if you go to the agent section and if you go to all agents, this is what we call Agent 365 Registry. This gives you a complete list of all agents that are in your organization built on Microsoft Stack, as well as public agents that you have acquired for your organization from the Microsoft Marketplace. And this list, which is called the registry of agents, will give you a detailed understanding of the agents that are in your organization. And when you click on any of these agents, it will give you a pop-up modal which gives you additional details into each of these agents, like what does this agent do, what knowledge sources does this agent have access to, what are the permissions that this agent have been granted by your admin from Entra, what are the various APIs that this agent is calling, if any. That kind of details are available. And this really gives the global admin or the AI admin in your organization a clear view into the list of agents that you can have in your organization. It also gives you an idea about who have access to each agent. When you click on each of these agents, you can specify who can get access to it. If you would like to learn more about those detailed features, I'm happy to help you, and please drop me a line in the chat. We talked about who can access agents. This is what we call agent extensibility internally, but from your perspective as an admin in your organization, you can think about as this is a control plane where you can decide who have access to agents in your M365 environment. You have the option of granting all users with a Copilot license in your organization to have access to agents, or you can or you can limit it to a subset of users. And when you select to a subset of users, you have the ability to choose between groups or named individuals, and only this set of people that you have giving access can create and consume agents. And creation, consumption, and sharing come hand in hand. This is one single control that can help you decide who in your organization have creation, consumption, and sharing access to your to the agents in your organization. We talked about who can access, right? Now the natural question in your mind, if you're not familiar with this, which most of us are, which is great, is what kind of agents are available in your organization? You have the ability to choose between options like, hey, I need only Microsoft certified agents that are public to everybody. Or you can say that, hey, I need only agents that are built by non-Microsoft ISVs, but are public for any multi-tenant scenario to be used. Or you can say that I can only use I want my users to only use agents that are created internally within my organization. And this is a multi-select checkbox, and you can choose a combination of this today. It default comes as all selected. So so far we talked about who can create and use agents and what type of agents can be used in your organization. Now let's talk more about sharing. And one of the feedback that we get from our dear partners, customers, is that, hey, I need to be able to start slow. I am not sure that I want my users in my adoption journey, early in my adoption journey, as a tenant admin, want to create and share agents. Or what if there are concerns? What if they get to share agents that inadvertently might share more information? The concerns are misplaced, as you might have heard in other discussions. Even if you share an agent that have access to an underlying linked knowledge source, it will still respect whether the end user have access to it. So the knowledge sprawl concerns are misplaced, but people would still people have still come back to us with the feedback that I want to stop. Make sure that even if customers share, they can share only with their immediate members. What does that mean? Today, when you share your agent from Copilot app, when you create an agent by yourself and then you try to share it, you get multiple options. These options include share with anyone in the org, or share with some users, and share with only me. Anyone in the org, some users, only me. When you opt the anyone in the org option, what it really does is that it creates a link. In all three options, it will create a link. But when you click the option of share with anyone in the org, the link created can be, if it's accessed by anybody who have access to that within your organization can access that agent. And some of the feedback that we got was that, oh, maybe that's a little bit too fast, too early. So hence we introduce this control, which says that who in your organization can share agents org-wide. And you can say that all users can or only some users can. And if you go for the some users option, only those users will have the share with anyone in the organization option turned on while they're trying to share an agent. Everybody else will see that option grayed out. So far we talked about who can access what type of agents and how much sharing can you do. Now, if you go into the next section, we want to talk about active adoption from within your organization via agents that are blessed by your organization. And if you are a developer, let's say a maker who creates an agent, and you are in Copilot Studio, Microsoft Copilot Studio.microsoft.com, and then you create an agent and you feel this is incredibly powerful, and you want to make it available to multiple people in the organization, not just your immediate team members. The best way to do that is to make it available to the rest of the organization with admin approval. We call it publish to tenant. And what this does is you have an option in Copilot Studio today. And when you're finishing creating the agent, when you go to publishing the agent, you have the option to publish to the entire tenant. And when you click that, what happens is the customers, the tenant admin gets a request on their end, and the tenant admin goes through what the agent is doing, checks whether it fulfills all the governance criteria that the agent that the company policy sets for, and then go for the approval. The approval can be, hey, make it available to everybody, and the admin can select who in the tenant can access the agent. Versus, in case of a shared agent, which is not admin approved, the maker selects who gets access to the agent. This tenant level agents really help admins and in some cases, decision makers make informed decisions on what kind of agents should be available in the in your space for the entire organization. When the customer makes a request, what you are seeing is M365 Admin Center. The request lands in the admin's request page, and the admin can see there are agents that are awaiting pending review. The first one, the staffing genie agent, this example, someone in your organization created it, they send it to admin for approval, and the admin has to review it, and the admin gets to see what are the details of this agent. What does it do? Where is it? Where does the maker want to get it published? All those kind of details. It can keep on clicking, Dorian. The maker can also see the data and tools in the organization. Sorry, in the agent, and what are the security and compliance posture of this agent, and what are the permissions that this agent requires to run. And this is the information that the tenant admin have at their disposal to make sure that this agent is worthy as per your governance and compliance standards to be available to everyone in your organization. These are the permissions that this agent requires, and the admin can go to and try to grant or to not grant these permissions. And once once you approve this agent, you have the option to select, hey, who in the organization gets access to this? Please note that this agent by default can be available to everybody, but still admin have an additional lever. Let's think about a scenario like your sales organization is so huge, and there are about 10,000 people in a sales organization. If you're a large company, and it's not fair for the tenant admin, the maker to share with each of them. And hence, the developer publishes to admin, and the maker talks to admin and says, hey, I want this to go only to the sales group. Nobody else in the company gets it. How we make sure of that is that we can ensure that in the some specific users group selection here, you can see the admin can make sure that only that particular group or a particular subset of users get that access. And here the second select option here allows the admin to pre-install the agent for the users if the admin prefers to. Pre-install means that the admin is installing on behalf of the user instead of the intended user finding it in the agent store and acquiring it for themselves. And this is an example where you selected a subset of users who gets this, and a further subset where it's available only to specific users or groups. And then you can choose to apply a policy template. There are default Microsoft policies available, and the custom policies can be created and added by the admin. This improves your governance, data security, and compliance posture when you create policy templates. If you have not dabbled much with policy templates, I strongly recommend you do. This requires its own session, but I'm taking this opportunity to make sure that you know that this option is available. This is where the permissions that this agent requires to run within the organization outside of the permissions that the user have for themselves. The users on behalf of permissions. Beyond that, these particular agent might require permissions to read a SharePoint site or to read your Outlook, or those kind of informations are handled by Entra. And the tenant admin have the ability to accept these permissions or reject it. If these permissions are rejected, then the agent will only run with the users on behalf of permissions. And once keep going, Darian. And once the admin accepts the permissions, you review and finish and publish. And at this point, the people who the admin have granted access can discover it from agent store and install it. And if for the ones who the admin have pre-installed, can see it on their left nav in the Copilot web or app versions. And now we can see that the request has gone away from the admin's queue because you have the admin have successfully reviewed and approved the agent.
Thanks, Tony. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Purnima, and I'm a product manager in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Primarily working on the agent governance, agent management within the agent node in Mac. So today I will be covering what are the governance actions we support, and we'll go through them a little bit in detail. So today, like Tony just talked about, the publish flow, which is the admin approval flow of how an agent created in Copilot Studio lands in the request, and admin can choose to approve or reject the request. And once published, that agent becomes visible in the organization more broadly. So now we'll talk about a specific scenario which is deploy. So if you have used the Agent 365 node in Mac, you will see a lot of 3P agents like Asana, all of these agents from 3P partners, and you can also deploy these agents. So when you deploy, you're actually making them, you're pre-installing this agent to specific users and groups that you pick. You can also deploy a line of business agent, and you can also deploy a 1P agent like analyst, researcher, and other agents. So when you're deploying, it makes the agent pre-installed in the agent store and in Teams. So the end users in your organization don't have to manually install it, and it's readily available for them to use it. So that's the deploy action that's available in Mac. Next, we'll talk about pinning. So let's say you have deployed an agent and you have a line of business agent specifically built for the finance org that would be super valuable for all employees in finance. So it's readily available for them. An admin can also pin the agent. So when you pin the agent, that agent gets pinned on the left nav. So on the left nav in the Copilot, that you will see in the agent pane, there is analyst, researcher that is pre-pinned by Microsoft, and admin can specifically also pin up to 3 agent per user. So in this case, you can see that a sales agent can be pinned for a sales distribution group. The admin agent can be pinned for all admin users, and there is another agent. So here, admin is basically picking the high value agent that needs instant visibility, and when it's visible on the left nav, readily available for users, they can better use these agents. So this capability is also available within the agent page. There is an entry point called manage pin agents. From there, you can click to enter into the experience to pin agents for users and groups in your organization. So next is the block governance gesture, and this is something that a lot of admins have used in the case where the agent they think is doing something that it should not be running within the organization. Admin can specifically block the agent, and what does blocking really do is it makes the agent not available to anybody who previously had access to. So they can no longer interact with the agent. They can no longer see the agent in the agent store. So let's say there was a security risk, admin can block the agent, the developer can fix it, can mitigate the risk, and admin can then go back to Mac and further unblock the agent once the risk is mitigated. So that's the block governance gesture. Um, so here you can see within the agent page, we also have the filter where you can see the total number of agents blocked in your organization. Clicking on that, you can filter to all the blocked agents. So you have all the agents blocked in your tenant in one view. You can also choose to unblock once the agent is ready to be unblocked. So the next one is the missing an owner. In many organizations, employees build the agent and then they leave the company. And these agents could be high value agents where you would want someone else to pick up the continuity of the agent and be able to edit it, make further changes, and be able to submit the edits. So we have a filter on the Mac page saying missing an owner. When you click on this filter, you get a filtered view of all the agents which do not have an owner today. An admin can click on a specific agent that is ownerless and assign a new owner. So when you're assigning a new owner, you have to make sure that that owner has a valid license, Copilot license, so that they can actually edit the agent. So today this is live in Mac, where an admin can assign an owner for all the Copilot Studio Lite agents, or the other term is the agent builder agent. So you can reassign the agent. While this is today, we have this manual step where you can assign it at a per agent level. We are also working on the ability to bulk reassign or even have an automation scenario where admin will be able to opt in to a rule to say all ownerless agents should get automatically reassigned to the manager of when somebody is leaving the company. That way, these agents get reassigned and admins don't have to be involved in the management of these ownerless agents. So this is the manual reassignment at a per agent level is live in Mac. Okay, so the next one is the delete. Again, we have this gesture for a scenario where the agent is created in agent builder. The developer uploaded some files to ground the agent. Admin can choose to delete the agent if they think that agent is no longer used at all in the organization, or for compliance reasons, they want to completely delete the agent, delete the files, delete everything associated with the agent. Admin can delete it. Today, this is a hard action that deleting it permanently deletes the agent and any underlying files or container where the agent is stored. But we're also working on an optimization to make the delete into a soft delete, where these agents, once deleted, go into a soft deleted folder from where admin can, if they wish to restore it, they can restore these agents. So this is an optimization that's currently being worked on. Yeah, so I think those were the updates I had for the governance. I will now pass it over to Kenny, who will cover the cost management section.
All right. Hi, I'm Kenny. I am the PM for cost management or pay as you go in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. I'll be talking about what exists under the billing and usage node under the Copilot section. So in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, you can go to the billing and usage node under Copilot. And under that, you can create billing policies. You can set up pay-as-you-go billing for Copilot services. You can enable consumption of prepaid capacity packs. And then coming soon, you can restrict users pay-as-you-go billing at the agent level. You can see high usage users and assign /buy Copilot license. And then you can also allow consumption to pull from prepaid capacity packs without a pay-as-you-go fallback. I'll be going into each one of these a little bit deeper. So in terms of setting up pay-as-you-go, you need to create a billing policy so that you are able to connect users to a pay-as-you-go Azure subscription. So a prerequisite to creating a billing policy is that you would need an Azure subscription and a resource group. You have to be an owner or contributor role to the Azure subscription, and you have to be an owner or contributor role on the Azure resource group linked to the same subscription. So once you connect the billing policy to the Azure subscription, you can then choose the users that you want to connect that billing policy to. And so this could either be all users on the tenant or a specific user group. Also included in the billing policy is budget controls. So you can set a spending limit for each billing policy, and you can reset the budget either on the first day of the month, the quarter, or the year. And then you can send email alerts for each threshold that it reaches. So at 50%, you can send an email alert to any user group that you choose. Once you set up a billing policy, so you connected users with an Azure subscription, you can then connect that billing policy to different Copilot services. We currently have 4 services available: Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, which is general availability, SharePoint Agents, which is also GA, Copilot Retrieval API, which is currently in public preview, and then Copilot Tuning, which is in private preview. If your tenant has any prepaid credit capacity packs available, so this would be through purchase of Copilot Studio, you can enable the consumption of those credits through the checkbox here. And so what this behavior is that users under the service, if they are using Copilot Chat, they will first run through their capacity pack, their prepaid capacity pack. And once that is over, it will then fall back onto the PayGo billing policy that is enabled. So as you can see, this check mark is checked, and we also have a billing policy enabled. Here's a demonstration on how to set up a billing policy and connect it to a Copilot service. So that subscription is pulling from Azure along with the resource group. And then you can choose all users or a specific group. And then you can set a budget. And so to reiterate, a billing policy has the Azure subscription, the user group, and a budget. Okay. And then once you created the billing policy, you can then connect it to a service by enabling it. So that's the latest billing policy, and then you simply connect it. And then the users now have access to Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat and the agents under it. And they would consume the pay-as-you-go subscription on Azure. Moving on to coming soon features, we have agent level billing control. So currently, if you enable a policy, you can only enable it on the service level. So if you enable it on Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, you would get access, people in that billing policy would get access to all agents under that service. However, coming soon in April, you would be able to look at all the agents underneath a Copilot Chat or underneath a service, and you'd be able to have granular control on what on who gets access to or who gets to use pay-as-you-go on which agent. So in this flow, you can see that I'm checking Melma's agent, and I'm enabling a specific billing policy to that agent. And this billing policy would not apply for the rest of the agents. Next, we also have the license assignment flow for high usage pay-as-you-go users coming in April 2026. This shows a list of users who have exceeded 2,000 credits in the last 30 days. And so we chose 2,000 credits because this is close to the price that it would be for an unlimited Copilot license, which is $30. And so if they are higher than 2,000 credits in the last 30 days, they will show up on this list, and admins can select and directly either buy and assign these users a Copilot license. Finally, we currently have capacity pack consumption available. However, it requires a pay-as-you-go billing policy to fall back onto in case the capacity pack runs out. Coming in April, we will have the ability for admins to create a capacity pack policy, which is the same thing, or which is very similar to a billing policy, in which that it connects capacity packs to a user group. And then admins can then adjust who or what services use the capacity pack policies. If once you implement the capacity pack policy, if the capacity pack runs out, it will not fall back to a pay-as-you-go policy, and it'll shut off access to those pay-as-you-go users. That's it from me. Thanks all.